I couldn't believe it happened. I, Edward Stokes, have just made love to the most beautiful woman I have ever seen, much less known. I have no idea why she needed me. There is absolutely nothing special about me. I didn't want our time together to stop, not only because I was having such a good time, but also because I didn't want to go home to my wife Whitney. It was so late that she couldn't help but notice. I had to tell her something. I'm really bad at lying, so I decided to tell her the truth and use cannonballs. If she forbids me to have sex with her as punishment, I'm unlikely to notice a significant difference. I found her already in bed, but still awake. Well, look who finally brought his sorry ass home. Why are you in your work clothes? Undress and go to bed. I'm dressed because I'm afraid I'll leave soon. Are you leaving? Where might you need to go at a time like this? I suspect you'll kick me out when you find out what I've done. Whitney sat up straighter in bed. Crap. I hope you didn't crash your new car. No, nothing like this. Well, now you've completely woken me up, idiot. Come on, tell me and get this over with. It can't be that bad. Maybe. I just had sex with Stephanie Cox. Stephanie Cox, our high school classmate? With Stephanie Cox, the model? Yes. She burst out laughing and continued laughing for several minutes. You'd think I'd believe it. You want me to believe that a woman as beautiful as her wants to have sex with you. You're either high, joking, lying, or delusional. For God's sake, she can have any man she wants in this city, married or unmarried. I can't believe you told me that joke with such a straight face. It was almost convincing. When did you become such a good comedian? She continued to giggle. I was a little angry at her for that comment. Whitney, I'm telling the truth. Stephanie and I had sex tonight, several times. Yes, that's right. Honey, I don't believe Stephanie would have sex with you even if you got her drunk. Now undress and go to bed. It's late, and I need to sleep. Well, first I need to take a shower and see if I can get rid of all the smell of Stephanie's perfume and her bright lipstick. My comment only caused another burst of laughter from my wife. I took a shower and then went to the guest bedroom. I didn't sleep much, but at least I replayed my evening with Stephanie in my head. The next morning, Whitney came downstairs to get her morning cup of coffee, which I always made. As soon as she sat down with her cup and took a sip, a wide smile appeared on her face. So, Don Juan, are you going to tell me the truth about where you were and what you really did this evening? What do you want? I told you the truth about last night and you didn't believe me. Come on, honey, if you could get a woman like Stephanie to go to bed with you, I wouldn't be mad at you. I'd give you a fucking medal. It would be the miracle of a lifetime. I wouldn't even envy your pleasure. Heck, if the most handsome man in the world started hitting on me, I'd be in his arms in a heartbeat, regardless of whether I'm married or not. And no, I didn't have sex with the most handsome man, or with any other man, handsome or not. I'm completely satisfied with boring sex with you, your mediocre dick, and our mediocre life. It's nice to know that my faithful wife thinks so highly of me and would be willing to break our wedding vows so easily. Easily? I said, about the most handsome man in the world. How am I going to meet him, let alone get him into bed? Edward, as I continue to feed your sick bedroom fantasy, I'm starting to get a little tired. She paused and grinned. So, are you and Stephanie going to do this again soon? If so, I'd like to take a look. Damn, I wish I could join myself. Whitney, I didn't plan this, but after your snarky reaction, I just might have sex with her again. She said she liked it. I left her giggling at the kitchen table. I was angry. I went to work and began to wonder if the people I worked with might suspect that I had cheated on my wife. Obviously, there was no sign that anything had changed in me. I had lunch with Dale, my best friend at work. I was so excited about my good fortune that I couldn't wait to tell someone I could trust. Dale, I need to tell you something, but you have to promise not to tell anyone. What? Did you steal the office legal pad to take home? No, I'm serious. Dale, last night I had sex with another woman. Dale had a shocked look on his face. You say you had sex with another woman other than Whitney. How much did she take? Dan, she's not a prostitute. She is a beautiful woman who willingly gave herself to me. Of course it was. If this is true, did you or both of you have bags on your heads? He found it funny. Damn it, I am telling the truth. FYI, I had sex with model Stephanie Cox. He laughed for a long time. People in the cafeteria started looking at him. He was laughing very loudly. Edward, do you really think I'll believe this? For God's sake, she's a fucking Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, and you're an average slob at best. Stephanie seems to be the most gorgeous woman to ever come out of this town. She can have any handsome, rich man in the world she wants. You're not even in the top half of the list of handsome men in this small town. The roads are littered with the bodies of men she has run over the years. Men whose face, body, and wallet look much better than yours. Plus, I saw you in the shower. Phew, thanks for the laugh, buddy. I needed it. You and Stephanie Cox, yeah, that's right. I think he was still chuckling as he walked home from work that evening. Before heading home, I called Stephanie. I wondered what her attitude would be. I was worried that she would regret being with me and brushed me off as a one-time mistake. I was afraid to call her. My memories of our meeting were perfect, and I didn't want to burst the bubble. Good morning, honey. I'm so glad you called. I was afraid that you wouldn't do it because you regret our meeting. I really hope you don't regret that we had sex. As for me, I'm still coming down from the heights of last night. I keep replaying our time together over and over in my head. I hope you haven't had too many problems at home with Whitney. Actually, no, everything is relatively normal. I'm glad, but I'm also curious. What did you tell her? Why were you so late? I told her I had sex with you. What? Yes, I told her the truth. Oh my God, what did she do to you? Was she yelling and screaming at you? Did she throw anything at you? Did she kick you out? No, she didn't believe me. She said that a beautiful woman like you would never want to be with me even if I gave you a drug on a date. This is really unpleasant for my husband to hear. Actually, I can understand that. Face it, Stephanie, you're way out of my league. You could have men much more handsome and fit than me. I am simply delighted that I spent at least one evening with you in my life. I will cherish this memory forever. I don't know what you think about my league, but Edward, there is absolutely nothing wrong with your appearance or the size of your penis. You are a smart, caring person with a good sense of humor. People like you are harder to find than you think. It's true that I've dated some of the most handsome men in the world and found that most of them are narcissistic and superficial. They were generally bad lovers, no matter the size of their penis. Now that I've found you, I don't want to let you go. You showed me that you know how to make love to a woman, not just sex. Last night was the best lovemaking I've ever had because you are a real man. Actually, Edward, I'm glad she treated you badly. I hope that her reaction will make you more likely to want to meet again. I really want to continue what we started, even if we change Whitney. I don't need my wife's disrespectful reaction to make me want to make love to you again. I definitely want to repeat. If she doesn't want to believe that I'm having sex with you, that's her problem. Edward, please be honest. Did you really enjoy it so much that you're willing to risk your marriage? I don't need time to think about my answer. I think our meeting was the best time I have ever spent with any woman. For me, this is an easy choice. I want to spend at least one more night with you, no matter the consequences. Maybe we can see if we can do even better next time, Edward. I'm sure we have reserves. Stephanie, you're making me horny right now just by talking about it. When do you think we can get together again? How about a long lunch tomorrow? I'll agree if we meet at my house and invite me to lunch, a really long lunch. If you don't mind, I don't mind. Then, see you, love. She made a kissing sound before hanging up. I didn't do my job very well for the rest of the day. I went home at 5 thinking about tomorrow's lunch. Whitney picked up where she left off. Glad to see you home, lover. I'm guessing you have a hot date with your friend Stephanie tonight? No, but we do have a noon planned for lunch tomorrow, FYI. Whitney giggled. Where do you meet your girlfriend? You promised to let me watch next time. In her luxurious apartment. No, I didn't say you could watch. Maybe I could get Stephanie to film us so I could let you watch the video. Oh my God. My loving husband is being seduced. Was it an April Fool's joke? What will I have to do to get it back? I guess I'll just have to wear your cock out so bad tonight that you won't be able to satisfy her tomorrow and she'll give you back to me. How about some fun before dinner for a change? Whitney, are you sure you remember how to have sex? I don't even remember the last time we did this. If you think you can make me forget the sex I had with Stephanie, you can try it. This time it was me who grinned, and in vain. As it turned out, that evening Whitney and I had sex both before and after dinner, some of the best sex we had in our marriage. She even made me call her Stephanie. The sex hasn't yet been as good as the sex I had with Stephanie, but my wife and I definitely had a lot better than average. Over the next few months, I was blessed with an irregular schedule of fantastic sex with Stephanie and improved sex with Whitney. I enjoyed each one with both as if it were the last, because I was sure that something would soon happen that would put an end to my sex with one or both sexual partners. It was Stephanie who made everything change. One afternoon, after another round of sex with Stephanie, she looked sad and pensive. I assumed she was going to break up with me. I wasn't too upset by the prospect. I was glad that our short romance lasted so long. I wasn't surprised to hear her say, "Edward, we need to talk." "Certainly." I took a deep breath. "Baby, I can't do this anymore." "I understand. I expected this. I want to thank you for every moment we spent together. You are a very special lady, and I wish you great happiness. Do you want me to leave now?" "No, what? Are you leaving me? Why are you talking about leaving?" "You misunderstood me. The problem is that I want you to stay this afternoon, tonight, and every day, and night forever. I want this to be your home, and I want to be your wife." She came over and hugged me tightly. "I love you, Edward." My jaw hit the floor. "Stephanie, are you sure this is what you want? Are you ready to give up all the gorgeous male models who want to have sex with you? The only thing these men have that you don't have is self-confidence. Why is it so hard for you to believe that I'm in love with you? I know we spent a lot of time together in bed, but I enjoy talking to you outside of sex. I love just being in the same room with you. I have already discussed things with you that I have never told anyone else about. It may not sound romantic, but I feel more comfortable than ever when I'm with you. You seem to be making the false assumption that I have sex with the male models I work with all the time. This has happened occasionally in the past, and it was usually regrettable when it happened. But now, I haven't been with anyone else since we first had sex. I have no problem being exclusive with you. Edward, the problem I'm facing is related to our current situation. Knowing that you live with Whitney and have sex with her drives me crazy. I get so jealous when I imagine you with her, even though she is your wife. I need to know. Do you want me as much as I want you? Of course, more than anything in the world, I want you to be with me. I hate to imagine that you could be with another woman. Are you ready to divorce Whitney and move in with me? I will do everything in my power to make you the happiest person in the world. I want us to have children. Are you saying that you want to marry me? Not if you don't want it. I just want to be with you, whether we're married or not. Steph, the love I once had for Whitney has been tarnished by the way she has treated me over the last few years. I don't want to go home after work anymore. It feels like I'm just going to another job where my boss despises me. I don't feel in love anymore. From a financial perspective, I would probably want to give her more than half of the assets to mitigate the damage. I don't want to make her life too difficult until she finds another man who can support her. Do you understand me? Also, Stephanie, do you think we can live on your money and half my salary, at least until I stop paying child support? Edward, I inherited some money from my grandfather, and I saved most of my modeling fees because I always knew that my ability to make money from modeling was temporary. Makeup artists are finding it harder and harder to make me look like I just graduated from high school. Honey, I have enough money to secure my future with or without you. Since I consider you my future, I don't mind sharing my money. We made love again. Jason, I need you to recommend a family lawyer. Damn, are you and Whitney breaking up? I thought your marriage was strong. Did she cheat on you or something? No, I cheated on her. What? Have you found someone else to have sex with? I didn't know you had it in you. I didn't realize you were a stud. Do I know who she is? I still assume it's her. Although these days, you can never say for sure. That's her. In fact, she is a very beautiful girl. This is Stephanie Cox. I wasn't surprised by the laughter I heard over the phone. Having finished, he said, "Thanks for the joke, Eddie boy. I have never laughed so hard in my life. So, why did you actually call?" "This is not a joke, Jason. Stephanie and I love each other, and I need a divorce. I want to be as fair to Whitney as possible." "You speak terribly seriously. You and Stephanie Cox?" "It's not easy to imagine." "Okay. I'll pretend you're telling the truth. Elaine Reynolds is a family law attorney in our office whom I recommend. She is not stupid and will give you the best deal. Have you told Whitney yet?" "No. I told her that Stephanie and I are having an affair, but she refuses to believe that Stephanie is having sex with me." "You can't blame her. Damn it, I still don't believe it myself. I never approached Stephanie when we were in high school because I thought I had no chance." "Crap. If you're fucking her, then you're one of the lucky bastards." "Whitney, we need to talk." "Wait a minute. Isn't that what the cheating wife says to her husband, cuckolding her, in all those short stories?" "Yes. But this time it's a story about how a cheating husband tells his wife. Edward, I really hope you're not in that Stephanie Cox had sex with me story anymore. It really got boring. It went from fun to tedious. I'm already thinking about calling Stephanie myself to debunk your ridiculous story." "Continue." "I just wanted to tell you that I have contacted a lawyer about filing for divorce. Now, just one damn minute, Buster." "You went too far with this joke. It would be better if there was no application for divorce, because there will be no divorce. If I really thought you wanted to leave me, I would have just shot you instead. I don't believe stupid people should be allowed to reproduce. As punishment for your fake divorce announcement, you will not sleep in our bed today. Your only sex will be with Stephanie, who lives in your dreams. That's it, idiot. Now, what else do you want to say?" "I'll be at Stephanie's if you need me." With these words, I walked out the door. I believe it was a Precious Moments doll that broke on the door right after I closed it. I hope so. I wanted to gouge out those huge eyes of the doll. "How did she take it, honey?" "Not very good, I'm afraid. I think she will try to contest the divorce." I admit that I really feel sorry for her. I mean, she didn't do anything that terrible to you. I imagine the thought of divorce came as a real shock to her. Maybe I should talk to her myself and see if I can smooth out her ruffled feathers. We were good friends in high school. If you think it will help, just be prepared for loud yelling and a lot of vulgar language. I will do everything possible to soften the blow to her pride. "Whitney, this is Stephanie Cox. Oh, my husband's pseudo-lover. Did you just find out that you're the other woman in my husband's elaborate cheating fantasy? It still drives me crazy every time I think about it." "Whitney, I'm afraid this is not a joke or a fantasy. Edward and I fell in love. We're both sorry you'll be hurt. I promise that he will be more than fair in the divorce. I called because I want to personally apologize to you. This is something a friend shouldn't do to a friend. I never intended to fall in love with your husband. It just happened. I'm sorry. Truly sorry. Listen, Steph, I can't believe that a woman as smart and successful as you would participate in this evil prank my husband came up with. I thought his goal in doing this was to get more sex from me. Well, I started trying harder in bed, but our sex life didn't get any better. My Edward would never actually divorce me, even for such a magnificent woman as you. He would be like dogs who chase cars, and when they catch one, they don't know what to do with it. I don't know how much he paid you to play a prank on me, or what he knows to blackmail you, but it won't work. Damn it, Stephanie, there was a time when I would have killed just to have one of your guys. The idea that you want to take my boring, normal Edward away from me is laughable. I know what he's like in bed. You could do better than him, at the homeless shelter. Whitney, I'm sorry you have such a low opinion of your husband. I do not share this opinion, and in my estimation, he makes love very skillfully. If he and I get married after the divorce, which I hope we will, I will try not to repeat the mistakes that you obviously made. I will treasure what I have. Whitney, it was basically just a courtesy call. I wanted to warn you that tomorrow at work, you will be served with divorce papers. I wanted you to be mentally prepared so that it wouldn't surprise or confuse you too much. Please consider his suggestions. Damn, Edward did his best to try and make fun of me. I bet he paid some random person to pretend to serve me tomorrow. Maybe I can arrange my own surprise. At 10 o'clock, Whitney was informed that she had a visitor. She decided that it was a fake server and told the secretary to send this person. Whitney stood up and took her position. A well-dressed young woman walked in and asked, "Whitney Stokes?" "Yes." "Can I see some identification?" "Sure, no problem." Whitney showed her driver's license. "This is good. Miss Stokes, you have been served." She handed her the package. Whitney replied, "And you were served too." With that, she laughed and hit the young woman in the face with a lemon meringue pie. The woman brushed off most of the pie. "I will press charges of assault. No wonder your husband is divorcing you." Then she ran out of the room. Whitney continued to laugh. The secretary asked, "What just happened?" "Miss Stokes, my husband is playing a stupid joke on me. He's pretending to be divorcing me and has some incredibly hot woman to marry him. I decided to make fun of him back, starting with a fake server. Although I do wonder what's in the envelope." She tore the envelope. The papers looked legitimate, but she had never seen a divorce petition before. She threw everything in the trash and began cleaning up the mess she had made while maintaining the server. Whitney decided to see how far her husband would go in this farce. She checked their bank accounts and credit cards. Half the money disappeared from the joint account, and the credit cards were paid off and closed. Absolutely predictable. It's okay. Whitney transferred the remaining funds from the joint account to her own account and obtained her own ATM card. Whitney wasn't too surprised that Edward didn't come home that night. He was probably angry that she didn't buy his joke. "He won't last long. Maybe I can give him an incentive. Maybe I can tell him that I'm ready to have kids after all. He really wants children." 4 weeks passed without any changes. Now Whitney began to worry. She didn't hear anything from Edward. She checked and found out that he went to work every day. Then she received a notice that her mortgage payment was late because the account from which the automatic payment was coming was closed. Now she needed to talk to Edward. She called him at work and was a little surprised that he answered her call. "Edward, because of your little game, we are late on our house payment. We are both at risk of having bad credit ratings. What are you going to do about it?" "I think we will decide everything at the hearing next week." "What hearing?" "A hearing organized by my lawyer." "You never gave the name of your lawyer. We sent you a registered letter. You signed for the receipt. I thought it was part of your joke. You need to wake up to the fact that this is not a joke. We're getting a divorce. Get your head out of your ass and get a lawyer. All future contacts must go through our lawyers." He hung up. She suddenly realized that this probably wasn't a joke. They were heading towards divorce. Whitney panicked, left work, and got busy. She contacted a family law attorney and told him the details. He wanted to refuse cooperation because she did not respond to either the petition or letters. He finally told her to be at the hearing, dressed nicely, and have an idea of the settlement she wanted. This day came. Whitney was with her lawyer, and Edward, Stephanie, the man-stealer, and his lawyer were already sitting. The hearing began with Whitney's attorney first requesting a consultation. Edward's lawyer argued that Edward's wife had obstructed the process from the beginning and that counseling would have been just another delaying tactic. Whitney testified that she believed Edward was joking about the divorce and that she did not want a divorce. She won the first round. 12 weeks of consultations were scheduled. Edward was willing to pay 60% of the bills from his salary. "Whitney, what do you hope to get out of these sessions?" "I hope to stop the divorce and get back to where we were before he started cheating on me." "Edward, what about you?" "Do everything possible to speed up the divorce process." "Well, it looks like we have quite a gap to bridge." "Edward, as far as I understand, you were the one who started it all with an affair. Please tell us your story." "In fact, it all started long before my relationship with Stephanie. I loved Whitney for many years. For the most part, she was a good wife. She would probably be a wonderful mother if she ever agreed that it was time to have a child. She always had an excuse to postpone motherhood. I admit I wasn't that unhappy about it and wasn't specifically looking for an affair, but it happened. One day I was having lunch when our old high school friend Stephanie Cox showed up. She was famous in our school for being a popular model for all the teen magazines. The dinner tables were full and she asked if she could join me. I was extremely flattered that she even remembered me from school. I, of course, was not part of the V group with which she usually associated. We ate and talked before and after lunch. She said she enjoyed talking to me and asked if we could meet again. I suggested a time and place for dinner and she agreed. I was euphoric. I had a date with one of the most beautiful women in the world. I didn't say anything to Whitney because I secretly wanted something sexual to happen between me and Stephanie, even though my brain was saying, no way. Anyway, we met again for dinner, this time at her apartment. I was completely crazy about her. As I walked out, she leaned over to kiss me goodbye. It all started only with the lips, but soon passion prevailed. I thought I had hit the jackpot, but in reality, this was to come. A few minutes later, I returned to the apartment and they began to take off my clothes. I kept waiting for her to tell me that she was just playing a joke on me, but that never happened. Sex happened. Best sex of my life. Sorry, Whitney, but it's true. I felt happy and guilty at the same time. I went home and told Whitney. She didn't believe me. According to her, there was no way a loser like me could go on a date with a woman like Stephanie, let alone get her to have sex with me. This made me angry. When Stephanie said she wanted to see me again, I said to myself, what the hell? I'll just show Whitney. As my romance with Stephanie blossomed, Whitney increasingly mocked my claims that I was with Stephanie. She thought I was faking or delusional. There was no way Stephanie Cox would want me. I admit that Whitney has improved in the bedroom, and over the past few months we have had the best sex of our marriage. Stephanie once said that she wanted to be with me constantly and exclusively. We decided that we wanted to be together as husband and wife, even though it meant I would have to get a divorce. I tried to tell Whitney as gently as possible, but when I told her, she laughed in my face. She thought I was either crazy or had completely misinterpreted Stephanie's feelings when she was probably just putting up with me. When I served Whitney, she attacked the servers and threw away the papers. It wasn't until she called me about a late mortgage payment that she realized there was actually a divorce going on. The point is, even though Whitney didn't do anything terrible before Stephanie and I got together, she disrespected and ridiculed me to the point that I considered leaving her even if I had. It's impossible to marry Stephanie. My love for Stephanie is an additional reason for divorce. That's all. It's enough for today. Next week, we'll let Whitney tell her side of the story. Whitney chimed in. Why can't I say anything today? Just briefly. Edward, I'm so sorry I didn't believe you. You are a great find for any woman. I love you and want to remain your wife. Please forgive me and give me another chance. I am ready to give birth to a child from you as soon as possible. I want children as much as you do. Edward didn't say anything as he left. He was clearly excited. Whitney told her version of events, admitting her disbelief and then disrespect for her husband. She feared that Stephanie was too great a prize for Edward to refuse. Whitney promised to treat him better and get pregnant as soon as possible so they could have children. Edward simply said, "Too little, too late. No, it won't if you just give me another chance." The final divorce hearing has begun. Whitney looked much older. Her dress was rumpled and she was wearing no makeup other than lipstick. She looked depressed, very depressed. The judge spoke. I understand that 12 weeks of consultations did not lead to reconciliation. I also understand that the wife still wants to stay married. Mr. Stokes, this is your last chance to change your mind. Do you want to get a divorce or stay married to her? Whitney is an attractive woman with many good character traits. She can be an amazing wife to another man and mother to their children. I once wanted to be such a person. I don't want this anymore. Your Honor, I want a divorce. Fine. I declare the marriage dissolved in accordance with the terms of the settlement presented to me. Mr. and Mrs. Stokes, you are now divorced. When everyone stood up, Whitney remained sitting and crying. Edward stood up and said, Whitney, don't give up on yourself. You can have a bright future with someone else. I really wish you all the best. In tears, Whitney surprised everyone by pulling a gun out of her purse. There's no reason why we can't be happy again once I get rid of her, and pointed the gun at Stephanie. Stephanie stood up and patted her stomach. If you shoot at me, you won't only kill me. The belly, which she stroked, almost did not begin to bulge. Whitney dropped the gun and completely broke down before she was disarmed and led away. As soon as Whitney was taken out of the room, Edward asked, "Stephanie, are you pregnant?" "No, I just typed a little." Sex can be great exercise, but it burns a lot fewer calories than my usual exercise routine when I'm getting ready for a shoot. I know Whitney well enough to know that she would never kill an unborn child. You took a big risk, honey, so you're not pregnant. You know, I'm a little disappointed that this isn't the case. This doesn't mean I can't be pregnant. We can start this as soon as we get home. Sounds good to me. Stephanie snuggled next to Edward on the couch in the apartment she now officially shared with him. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.